The madman has been watching the mansion for weeks, his heart pounding with worry. He had warned Dave, yet he haven't seen nor heard from him since that day. Every morning, he observed from a distance as Tasha drove out in her expensive car, wearing designer clothes and carrying herself like a queen. The house that once belonged to Dave now felt like a fortress, one he couldn't penetrate. Several times he attempted to get close, but the high walls and security made it impossible for him. He tried sneaking in through the back, but Kelvin had installed new security measures. Each time he failed, frustration glowered at him. "Where are you, Dave?" he muttered under his breath. The silence from inside terrified him. He feared the worst. Had they killed him already? He thought. The madman knew he couldn't sit back any longer. He had to act. But how? Then an idea struck him, a dangerous, desperate plan. That afternoon, he waited. He knew Kevin wasn't home. He had memorized their routines. Kevin left in the morning and returned late at night, leaving Tasha alone. This was his chance. The moment Tasha's car turned into the driveway, the madman sprang into action. Laughing hysterically, the madman sprinted towards the mansion. His tattered clothes flopping as he waved his hand in the air. Ha 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 ha! I smell money, I smell money, I smell money, I smell betrayal, I smell betrayal, I smell money. He shrieked, his voice echoing through the compound. Tasha slammed on her brake. Her eyes widened in shock. What the hell? The madman banged on the car hood, still laughing wildly. Madman, get out from here! Tasha hissed, stepping out cautiously, her heels clicking against the pavement. Get away from my house, you madman! The madman didn't stop. He darted past her and ran straight into the house, slamming the door shut behind him. Hey, hey, come back here! Come, where are you going to? Tasha screamed. Running after him, she banged on the door. You useless madman, get out of my house! Come here! Get out of my house! Who sent you? Inside the house, the madman laughed her stop instantly. He moved past, running from room to room, searching. Dave! Dave! He whispered harshly, his eyes darting around. Where are you? Dave, it's me! It's me, the madman! It's me! It's me! Dave, where are you? A faint voice came from behind one of the rooms. I'm here! I'm here! The guest room. The room by your left, Dave said. The madman rushed in at gaps. Dave was slumped against the bed, his wrist and ankle tied. His face was hollow, his beard unkempt, his clothes wrinkled. He looked like a man who had been drained of everything. You? Dave spat, his voice weak but laced with disbelief. Hold on, the madman said, killing before him, losing the ropes. Dave was confused as he kept on looking at the madman. Was this man mad? How, how do you find me? He asked him. The madman kept silent without uttering a word. Finally, he placed a firm hand on Dave's shoulder. Listen, you are still weak. Pretend you are tied up. Don't move. I need to get out of here before she suspects anything. I will come back for you. For now, pretend you are still tied up, he said. Dave nodded weakly, laying back in shock. Outside the house, Tasha was still banging on the door, her voice furious. I swear I will cut off your head if you damage anything in there. If you spoil anything in my house, I'm going to kill you. Suddenly, the door burst open. The madman sprinted out, cracking like a man possessed. You can't hide from Kama. Woman, you can't hide from Kama. You can't, he said. Tasha took a step back, her body teasing. You again? What the hell is wrong with you? I'm going to kill you. I will deal with you. She reached out for her phone, her fingers shaking. I'm calling Kelvin. He will deal with you when he returns. The madman stepped closer, lowering his voice. Kevin won't always be here to save you, madam. Tasha eyed narrowed. What did you say? What did you say, you lunatic? Stupid man. The madman leaned in, his grin wide, his eyes blazing. You better start washing your back. he said. Tasha's breath inched. She took a slow step back. I will kill you, she hissed. The madman simply threw his head back and laughed again before dashing towards the gate and disappearing into the street. Tasha stood frozen, her heart pounding. For the first time in a long time, fear flickered in her eyes. Dave sat on the cold floor of the guest room. His wrist sore from the tight ropes that has once bound him for weeks. He was finally freed by the madman. But now came the real challenge. What next? What will he do now? The anger, the humiliation, the disbelief of what had happened to him burned deep inside. Tasha, the woman he had loved with every fiber of his being, had not wholly betrayed him, but had turned his life into a nightmare. Through the small opening of the door, Tasha's voice sweet and seductive, and Kelvin deep arrogant chuckle. His stomach churned as their voices filled the house, his own house. He peeped through the gap, and what he saw made his blood boil. Kevin was seated on Dave's favorite couch, the same one he had bought for comfort after long work days. He held a glass of expensive whiskey Dave had imported from Scotland. Tasha sat on his lap, draped in a silk robe, running her fingers through Kelvin's hair as they giggled like newlywed couples. You see, babe, Kelvin said, grinning as he ran his hand up her thigh. I told you Dave was too soft. He never suspected a thing. Tasha smirked, taking a sip of her drink. Men like Dave are the easiest to fool. Like seriously, this is one of the easiest job we have ever done. I know his type. All they want is a loving and obedient wife. And once they believe they have found out in you, they stop looking deeper. We now have their hearts. She laughed. Dave clenched his fist. His heart pounded with anger. But more than that, he felt sick. Who was this woman he had shared his life with? Calvin continued, his voice laced with mockery, and the way he kept buying those new boxers every day. He thought you were being caring. Oh, meanwhile, you were handing them to me for the rituals, he said. Tasha burst into laughter, tossing her head back. Poor fool, poor fool. If only he knew how easy it was to drain him dry. His money has been moving into my offshore account for months. He had assumed his financial problems were business related, but no, Tasha had been stealing from him all along. That night, as Dave laid in silence, planning his next move, he heard a faint tap on the window. Startled, he turned towards the noise, his heart racing. Then he saw him, the madman. He was standing by the window, staring at Dave with sharp, clear eyes that no longer carried the flicker of insanity. Get out, the madman whispered, his voice urgent. Dave hesitated. Are you sure? Yes. We don't have time. If you want to survive, follow my lead. I will explain everything later. With no other option, Dave nodded. The man picked the lock in second, and together they slipped out into the darkness. They moved quietly through the shadows until they were at a safe distance from the house. Dave, still reeling from shock, finally turned to face his rescuer. You are not mad, are you? He asked, breathing heavily. The man exhaled deeply, his eyes filled with pain. No, I was never mad. My name is Richard, and Tasha ruined my life too. Dave was shocked. What? In shock, Richard sat on a fallen tree trunk, rubbing his temples as he prepared to tell his story. I was once like you, Dave, wealthy, successful, and deeply in love. Tasha came into my life like a dream. She was everything I ever wanted in a woman. Beautiful, intelligent, supportive. I married her, thinking I have found my forever. Dave swallowed hard, his stomach twisting. He already knew where this was going. But soon, my business started failing. Richard continued. Money disappeared. I couldn't understand how. But everything I built was crumbling. I trusted her, Dave. Even when she suggested I sell some of my properties to stabilize things, I agreed, thinking she had my best interests at heart as my wife, though. Dave fleas clenched. Then one day, I found out the truth. Tasha had been working with Kelvin all along. He was never a random lover. He was a partner in crime. They had been scamming wealthy men for years, using the same tactics: get married, gain trust, and move away with your money, and then dispose of the husband. Dave Brett hinged. Dispose? You mean what? Richard nodded slightly. Some of them don't survive it. They killed some of the men for ritual purposes. A chill ran down Dave's spine. My boxers, he thought. I comforted her, Richard said, his voice filled with pain. I told her I knew everything. I thought she would beg for forgiveness, that she would try to explain, but she didn't. Instead, Kelvin attacked me. They drugged me, took my company, my house, and left me on the street with nothing. Dave stared at him in horror. Richard chuckled bitterly. And you know what the worst part is? I was so broken. People thought I had lost my mind. I became the madman on the streets, warning people, but no one listened. No one believed me. Dave felt sick. He had been on the same path. If Richard hadn't warned him, he might have ended up dead. Richard placed a firm hand on Dave's shoulder. We have to stop them, not just for us, but for every other man out there. Dave took a deep breath, a fire burning inside him. He had lost everything, but not his will to fight. Over the next few weeks, Dave and Richard gathered evidence. They traced Tasha offshore accounts, found past victims who were willing to testify, and even managed to track down Kelvin fraudulent business dealings. With the help of a lawyer and a private investigator, they built an airtight case. Then came the final move. One evening, as Kelvin and Tasha were enjoying another stolen luxury, the police stormed the house. Tasha barely had time to react before she was handcuffed. Dave, baby, it's a prank. I'm just pranking you, she said. Dave stared at her coldly. I was a fool to love you, Tasha, but I won't be a fool anymore. Kevin tried to run, but the officer subdued him easily. As they were dragged away, Richard stepped forward, looking Tasha dead in the eyes. Do you ever think Kama wouldn't find you? He asked, his voice steady. Tasha's face twisted in rage. You? Richard? You are supposed to be dead. She spat. Richard smiled. No, I'm not dead. I'm alive. Flesh and blood. I'm that madman that came into this house. Tasha's face was in shock. You deceived me. To disguise yourself and deceive me, she shouted. With Tasha and Kelvin behind bars, Dave and Richard worked together to rebuild their lives. Though the scars remain, they found peace in knowing that justice had been served.